everybody. Welcome. Matthew Daniel here. And guys, guess what? I have an amazing guest with me. Somebody that's inspired me in many different marketplaces and many different new awakenings of gut health and entrepreneurism and the MD web tech world, other than Mr. Dr. Raj Shamar. How are you doing today, Dr. Raj?
Good, good. I'm doing great, Matthew. So nice to be on with you here today. Very excited.
Yeah, guys. So you guys are in for a nice treat. We're going to talk. Excuse me. I'm going to let Raj talk about a lot of the programs that he's working with and some of the amazing relationship partnerships that he's accumulated over the last couple of years, and some of the independent things that he's been working on himself that he's had the pleasure of sharing with me. And just give you a little background on Raj. Raj is, he's a doctor at first. He's a gastroenterologist, but he's also a strategist, an investor, philanthropist, speaker, author, obviously a physician and a serial entrepreneur. And everybody that's part of my network, guys, we love talking about serial entrepreneurs, right? So, Dr. Roger specializes in, as I spoke earlier, on a lot of different MD technologies and real estate, which he'll put a little bit more light on. And, Dr. Raj has been featured on PBS, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, Sirius XM. The list goes on and on. Tribune Star, Health Magazine podcast, and so on. He's been maintaining a low profile, self-proclaimed, but as they say, the all stars rise to the sky, and I think we're well on our way here, Raj. So I really appreciate you taking the time with me and for our guests to listen in and hear about what you have going on in your life right now. So I really appreciate your time here again. Okay. So
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Matthew. It's absolutely fascinating. I mean, you're an entrepreneur yourself. I mean, it's you have amazing track record, and you have so much to offer, and what you've done so far is absolutely, mind blowing. So I'm just so glad to get a chance to have this one-on-one with you and just kind of spit off ideas and see how this all comes together into this big nebula of brain power, right? It's like your brain with my brain, and you put this together. Now it's like square and cube and tetra. I'm just excited to see what's going to come out, and hopefully the listeners will enjoy this conversation. There is a word I learned recently. I'm an avid reader of Oxford Dictionary. So there's a word, and it's called consilience. Consilience.
okay.
So consilience is a word which means unity of knowledge. So basically, what they have said is that if you were to take your experience from a whole different field and apply this towards problem solving in a totally different field, you actually do better than people who are in that field.
Huh.
It's a proven economic study, economic data. So that's why with your vast knowledge of health tech and and fundraising and technology and being in the funding world and everything else you have, if you were to enter my world, you're gonna blow people's mind. And then similarly, if I was to bring my healthcare expertise and knowledge and everything else to your field, I think we can do all right. So that's amazing how this all works out. But apparently, once you're given a problem and it's fresh, you solve it with a fresh set of eyes and fresh brain. So, anyways, consilience is a word.
Consilient, that's the word of the day, everybody. So add it to the repertoire of language when you're in those business meetings, right? No,
Right.
interweaving, business ideas, technologies, infrastructures is become more of a common thing. So that word is so relevant in modern business, right? We're seeing all different types of technology interweave in industries that didn't exist before. Real estate has technology now, right? Which is huge. You're seeing, blockchain implementation into medical businesses, which nobody would ever thought that would happen. Banks are accepting different types of technology for transferring money. I mean, the food industry, the list goes on and on and on. So that word is very relevant for what we believe in, right? Is bringing in fresh ideas, and fresh ideas sometimes is not reinventing the wheel. It's just opening your mindset to other impactful ideas of other industries that can be implemented into yours. Sometimes it's not that difficult. But one thing I did want to get off my chest and give a big congratulations to is this amazing book right here, everybody. It's The Pursuit of Gut Happiness, and this is written by none other than Dr. Raj right here. And Dr. Raj, congratulations, number one, on finishing and publishing your book. And both me and my wife are just finishing polishing it off ourselves, and we're learning a lot about our gut. And I had no idea that we don't know much about our gut, right? I mean, everybody talks about our gut, intimately, of course, all the issues that we have, but it's really interesting to hear all the scientific facts behind it and how much science doesn't know about it, as me and you were talking, people know more about the brain than we do about our gut, which is a surprise,
It is.
so uh,
Right.
if you want to tell the people a little bit about how you came to putting this together and your inspiration behind it, that would be great.
Thank you again, Matthew. Again, I was very excited. And thank you for buying my book. I hopefully you get your money's worth. You know, and as I told you, most of the pictures I took myself. On the cover, the orange is turmeric, and turmeric has been in the Indian culture and civilization for thousands of years. And turmeric is it's very spiritual. It's very healing. We put it on our face to glow, for acne and for blemishes. We take it to our mouth for inflammation, and then also it's a salvation to the universe. The color yellow is very auspicious. So that's why I kind of wanted to stay true to my cultural DNA and have that color and turmeric present on the cover and within the recipes. So the inspiration for the book, believe it or not, came one day. I was just sitting down, and I was eating, and then I'm like, let me surf the web a little bit, and this is about 2014 or so, and I discovered that probiotics are the hot thing, right? It's like the next kid on the block, probiotics.
Right. Oh yeah.
52 $52 billion market, $52 billion market. And
That's it.
then as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is great. And when I Google the word probiotic, my goodness, people are talking about it. They're looking for probiotics. And then I'm like, okay, that's great. But as I dug more, I discovered there's no book, there's no credible source to help people understand what probiotics are and how they work. How should you take them? Why
Mm.
should you not take them? Like do's
Right.
and don'ts. So people out there spending money, $52, $100, $400 on this, kombucha tea, sauerkraut, all the fancy probiotics. They're supposed to even give you superpowers. Like, you take this one, you're gonna fly to the moon, you're gonna save money on gas. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? Is a wild, wild west.
Well,
So
that's what it
big,
says on the description of the bottles, right?
yeah, exactly. You take this probiotic, you will start improving on your gas mileage on your car.
That's
Your
right.
car.
Oh, you had that one too. Yeah, that's
You're
right.
gonna save money. So let me take it. Are you gonna fly to work? So I'm like, listen, they gotta be a credible guide.
Mhm.
So being a gastroenterologist, right? I'm board certified in gastroenterology. I'm trained at Loma Linda, which is a blue zone where people live the longest and the healthiest. So I was always into, mind body medicine and healing and really building a credible source of information for people because, I love people. I want to make sure they have access to the best information out there. So I'm like, listen, being a gastroenterologist, even I'm confused as to what's going on here. So let me try do something. So as I was sitting down to write, I wrote the template down, really making it easy, like what probiotics are, how do they work, when not to take them, when to take them, because people are taking them for everything. And sometimes they can cause problems. If you have Crohn's disease or some other issues with your gut, like a blockage, you can't take probiotics. You can get side effects. People out there wasting billions of dollars in prebiotic sales and
Right.
taking them and then not using them. And then the bottle just sitting there, they're flushing it away because, it's not working. It's not working because it's not the right type for you. So I wanted to make sure it's a simple guide for that. But as I sat down and, really put my thoughts together, I'm like, you know what? I can do better. Let me make this more of a fun read where it's
Mm.
not just probiotics, it's gut health, right?
Yeah.
Gut is the next frontier, like, mind and gut brain axis, this information highways. I'm like, let's make it a more holistic. So then I brought in a touch of my cultural information from 40,000 plus more years we have been around on this earth, doing some kick-ass work for humanity. So I brought in my Indian recipes that I took a liberty to bring some Indian herbs and spice knowledge to this book, which is good for gut health. Then I wanted to talk about mind body medicine, right? I mean, yoga, meditation, all these things, right? It's all change in your electromagnetic field
Right.
of your mind and your focus. It can shape the way you think, you feel, and then it can have physical manifestations for you as well. So there's no way I'm going to talk about just one linear thing without talking about everything else that it affects. The focus was gut, and the second focus was happiness. I'm like, okay, how do I put them together? So the book was called The Pursuit of Gut Happiness, right? Just like happiness in a life, we want to be happy. We do all these things to be happy and content. But if your gut's not clean and not happy, you cannot be fully happy. Because if you're bloated or you have diarrhea, constipation, you get a foggy brain, you can't think. So
Right.
I put them together where focus is the gut, and that enhances your spirituality, enhances your health, because whatever you eat, whatever you eat goes to your body, to your cells, for your brain, for your heart, everything else you gotta eat. It means your gut is the entry point and exit point, right? To
Right.
everything in your body. So that's why I wanted to focus on the gut. And as you just mentioned, gut has about 100 trillion microbes. Means we have more bacteria in our body than we have our own cells. Secondly,
Wow.
85% of the body's nervous system, it's in the gut. So gut feeling, oh, the gut instincts, all is true. And as business owner, like you are, and an entrepreneur, and including myself, you're gonna have a very good gut instinct to do business. So my goal was, okay, let me put everything about gut health in this one book or series of books and podcasts and audiobooks, so people of every sphere of life could get the knowledge, use it, build on it to get very healthy gut, healthy body, healthy mind that will lead to success in everything they do. Because if you're having diarrhea, bloating, and your stomach's hurting, you go to a board meeting. Trust me, you're not listening, and you're not
You're,
gonna.
you're a prisoner. You're a prisoner to your gut, right, if you're not
Exactly.
treating it well. That's right.
Exactly. So that was a vision. It started out with a simple source of information to make it credible, so people have good place to go to. But then, it just kind of took a life of its own. And over the years, we are selling books overseas. I get phone calls all the time overseas, and then we do national lectures all the time. It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to launching more series, of books and information, which is contemporary to 2023. Even though 2014 was when probiotic saga came to life, it's still going very strong. The market is huge, but now with more information pouring in, we want to make sure we modify that. With food allergies, food sensitivities, Crohn's disease, inflammation, all these things. But at the same time, how does your health interfere? Not interfere, interface.
Right.
Interfere too, but interface with your mind, your
Yeah.
thought process, your intelligence. Can having a good, clean gut make you smarter? I see it all the time. People who are constipated or they have diarrhea, if the gut's not happy, they can't think right. If they can't think right, you can't do good business. You cannot make good decisions. So that's
Right.
it. That's the point. Gut health will translate to a very successful life.
Yeah, we talk about so many things, and as far as what you put in your body, right? It's good for your muscle, it's good for recovery, it's good for growth, it's good for pain. But again, at least generally speaking, obviously you and your partners talk about it because it's your life, but nobody really talks about gut health, right?
Yeah.
And as we're learning, I'm learning, particularly from you, and starting to really put a bunch of cycles of thought into it. Gut health is extremely important, and it's you said it earlier. People talk about having gut instinct. I think that word has been established because if your gut's not operating correctly, then your mind's not operating correctly either. And just really thinking about that is a pretty strong statement, I think. And so, why do you think over the last 3-4 years that probiotics being the kind of the leader, the catalyst in trying to get people informed about gut health? Well, why do you think we're now starting to focus on our stomachs?
That's a great question. I feel not only there's more SEO around it, right? The word's more talked about
Yeah.
than before, but with social media and technology, it's much much quicker now to see the reviews and see other people's experience. And and people are sharing information with each other. Before the boom of internet and social media, right, information would travel slower. Now, I mean, something is up here on a review in the US, people in New Delhi, Shanghai, Singapore, Dubai, they see right away. I think this the speed of transmission has improved so much, that has led to this new revolution of
Mhm.
of health awakening. People are more awake and aware, and I do feel that newer generations, are millennials and Gen Zers, and I think they're more in tune with their bodies than the previous generation. These, they are more, this is my experience, they're more spiritually focused. They're more, they like to spend time with themselves, take time for themselves. I
Mhm.
feel that's another part, is the generations evolving. The evolution of mankind is a big factor in this, and I am actually in love with this awakening. This is great. People
Right.
should always control their health. The more healthier they are, the more happier they are. And in life, right, as you know, we are born to pursue happiness, right? True happiness, who knows when it comes, right? I'm not the prophet. I don't know if it ever comes, but it's a pursuit. So similarly, now with people at least knowing about it, right? Knowledge starts the pursuit. That's the first step.
No, yeah, no, I completely agree, and it's interesting hearing the different um solutions to this as well, and maybe you can kind of give us some insight. Obviously, they talk about Eastern medicine and Western medicine. The pursuit of gut happiness. Do you follow a guideline? Is this like an accumulation of different types of studies, or where does your teaching specifically come from, if it does?
Great. Great. Thank you. Yeah. So for me, I'm very humbled and proud to have been born in India, right? The land of yoga, right? The land of astrology, the
Right.
land of eat, pray, love. Julia Roberts. Hey, let's go to India, right? Everyone's going to India for their pursuit. So, and then of course, as you know, Whole Foods, right? Everything Whole Foods is selling is India. I mean,
Mhm.
India, that's what they eat, is this clean, unprocessed food. So
Right.
I'm a farm boy, Matthew. I grew up on a farm. We had buffaloes and cows. So I grew up drinking literally fresh milk, fresh yogurt, fresh everything in the farm. And if I had to go swimming, I didn't have a swimming pool. I would jump in it in a water body. I had no idea what was in the water body, and jumped in there. So that was a very simple way of life and
Right.
simple way of eating. And then at home, we would cook the food very simply. And I still remember this. It still brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. I have pictures I'll show you one day. So our family had this small clay oven. So this clay oven, my mom made it herself. So
Mhm.
everybody in India knew how to make an oven, like their own oven with clay. So
Right.
you have to take some like metal, bend it, and put clay molding around it, and you have your oven. And it was fired by wood. So everything was like, over here, it's like, oh, wood fired pizza. Everything was wood fired there. So we'll make the clay oven, and somebody had bigger ones, somebody had small ones. Put the wood in there. Get so now we have clean energy, right? We're not creating any big toxic fumes. We're burning wood, which is pretty clean. Then we bring you all the fresh food and vegetables from the gardens and the farms, and cooking it, putting spices in there. And then our kitchens back in India are very spiritually oriented. So we always have pictures of gods in there. A lot of times we worship the kitchen, we pray to the food. So there's the incense in the room, and you cannot enter your kitchen with shoes on. So Indians and also the Chinese, and Asian culture, we are very. It's not paranoia with germs. It's just spiritual, because we feel that consuming food is a spiritual practice, because
Right.
food is the energy for your body, right? So it means that energy has to be clean and pure. So really paying attention to it, cooking properly, consuming it properly, doing everything you can to show respect to these molecules that were given to you by God, or the Almighty, as an entry body. You want to pray that this food makes you healthier, smarter, and everything else.
Right.
So because of that, everything was very spiritual. So then I came to the US, and then I saw how they eat here. I'm like, oh my God, there's a big gap. but then I trained in the US system of education. So as I went through my life, I discovered that, there's no 100% perfect way of healing or education or nothing. There has to be a balance. So then I start combining the East and the West together,
Right.
learning from my culture, borrowing from there as my blueprint, and adding little sprinkles of American knowledge, and then have this hybrid approach, which is called the holistic or the integrative approach of health and healing. So that's how my ideas come from. I borrow not just from India, but from other cultures too. Because, Chinese and Vietnamese and African and Mexican culture, Latino culture, every culture has practices which are healing for the mind, body, and the soul. And I think when we go together as mind, body, and soul, it's much better for us as the human race, as a civilization.
Yeah, no, I think that's empowering, right? And like you said, we're moving into this earlier, this information highway where we're able to, intercept all different types of teachings. And I don't want to say it'd be ignorant just to take one, because it's definitely not, but to take it all, put it together, find the best practice of all, where everybody can be taught something that works for them is the world that we're definitely moving into, right? And
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear that's the core value of what you're bringing to in your philosophy. And before I forget, so the pursuit of gut happiness, we can find that on Amazon. That's right? So if you guys are interested in learning more about your gut, I know it's intimate. I know we talk about it to our intimate ones, but this is important, guys. You guys want to make sure that you're looking into this and start the pursuit of gut happiness. Okay, so you guys can find that on Amazon for purchase. So on to some other things, Raj. So we met through business, and you and I are talking about a bunch of business ventures together, and love to hear if you can openly talk about some of the active businesses that you're working with, and maybe we can shed some light and put a spotlight on some of those companies. Love to
Yeah,
talk about them.
sure, absolutely. One of the biggest businesses which we're working on is in revenue cycle management, RCM, which you and I kind of talked about, and was amazing to see your perspective on things. We can talk about that too. You
Yeah,
know, revenue cycle management, that's the engine of the Ferrari or the Lamborghini or the Boeing 747 that drives the healthcare system. So
right.
healthcare revenue cycle management is $1 trillion pie. You take it globally, it's even bigger, whatever's bigger than a trillion. And it keeps growing because there's so many permutations to that.
Right.
So as you know, I'm in that business of using technology, including your blockchain, like we talked about, and other super smart things which you're doing, bring it to the world of health and healthcare, and improving the flow of money through the healthcare transaction space. And that's critical, right? As a practicing physician, I do practice, as you know, when I offer my colonoscopies to my patients, even though sometimes I offer them for free and nobody wants it. They're like, I don't know, that's too much, you know.
I
No,
wonder
we don't.
why.
I never understood why. Come on, guys, it's garbage.
There's never a line waiting, is there?
It's never, they never. People say they'd rather go to Starbucks than get a colonoscopy. I'm like, hey, that makes sense. But, anyways, so say I do a colonoscopy and I have to collect money for the payment, right? There's so many steps inbuilt for me to collect money from that transaction as a
Right.
physician, as a business owner. Now, imagine a big organization like Mayo Clinic or United Healthcare, you name it, any or CVS Health, right? Anybody who's billing healthcare system, they have to go through this complexity of mathematical algorithms, like your world of matrix, to get the money. They want
Right.
to have they want to have all the technology, all the IT support, all the brain power they can to really maximize the revenue. And if they can do that, more collections, more money on the books, less bad debt, and they are in business. And a lot of these companies now, they are, as you know, they're turning into conglomerates, right? Like CVS is buying a bunch of businesses, like Aetna and all, and everybody's building around the healthcare stem. They have these branches, and every branch is like a banyan tree. I call it the banyan tree analogy. Every branch is touching the ground and giving another tree to them, and then that leads to more trees and more branches. So
Right.
healthcare is this amazing, amazing field, which is being revolutionized by technology, and especially revenue cycle management and more. So that's one of the fields I do, as you know, I delve in. And then I'm also into healthcare development, like new technology development. Could be AI in healthcare, AR, VR. How do we leverage that for healthcare to make people's lives better, give more support to patients and people and the families, and at the same time, how can we scale?
Right.
Technology brings scale. You know, Again, I hate to say it again, but for me, for me to do a colonoscopy, I got to be next to your butt.
Yeah,
That
sure.
butt right next to me,
Pretty
but maybe
straightforward.
right, I'm tied to the butt with a scope.
Yeah.
But if a smart guy like you or our audience that's brilliant, if they can come up with a solution where I can do 20 at the same time using some technology or AI or any type of machine support, I mean, now I can maximize my effort and scale.
Right.
So
Yeah.
healthcare can never touch global footprint if technology and entrepreneurs like yourself don't exist. Like, we need you, what you have to offer.
Yeah, healthcare is forever growing, right? From multiple perspectives, but the two main ones are the first one that you spoke about, as far as the processing side of the business. I mean, let's just be honest. We have a lot of physicians and hospitals that care for what they do to help people, but hospitals have become businesses. They are businesses, right? And become more and more clear cost, how much they cost, how they're operating
Yep.
internally, not as far as the physicians. It's become more and more clear that hospitals are run as a business.
Right.
And so, what that's created is multiple different, as you're talking about, those branches that are expanding the business of the medical fields. And me coming into that and understanding what the nuances or the challenges are in these systems to create additional revenue, it's crazy. I mean, talking with your partners and learning that, in accounts receivable, hospitals aren't billing, they're losing 10% of their potential billings. That's 10% more of a revenue model that they're losing through an infrastructure that could be more some more sophisticated, that would allow them not to miss any inputs, is kind of ridiculous. So and just our hospitals finally caught up to doing electronic medical records, right? And that's still being ironed out. It's still clunky. The operators, which are physicians mainly, they're trying to do what they've been taught to in school, and now they're being taught to be programmers, basically, right? So creating tools for them internally that could be more simplistic for them, because they need to be focused on what why they came into this job career of helping people, is essential, right? And coming up with new technologies, programs that both allow the physician to be a little bit more time sensitive with the
Right.
patient rather than the computer, is
Yep.
is is definitely something that needs to take place. Some of the other points that I learned from you and your group is, the data collection. Hospitals are very sensitive information, guys. They know everything about us personally, everything basically. And learning about the breaches of that information is pathetic. How many breaches into our data, our sensitive data, happens too often. And there are solutions that are being implemented, and Raja and his partners will be working on creating one with simple of technologies that are out there. And my audience just knows what what blockchain implementation is. Our information needs to be stored safely and securely on a blockchain, completely decentralized, that has the right encryptions and the right transfer methods and the right storage, that we have personal access to it, and that proper built blockchains are unhackable, right? And why the hospitals haven't implemented that yet is not befuddling to me. I mean, we know they're a little bit slow, but once they see how it can be built in so it doesn't ding them from them having to pay for it, but actually they're making money by implementing these technologies. It'll be easy for them to start the implementation. So I'm really excited to bring that solution to the hospitals. We know there's been a lot of discussions about it, but it takes more than a discussion, right? You have to have the right group, the right resources, the right educated people that can bring the full solution, not half of it, right? And that's what we intend to do. So I'm really excited to be working with that project.
Oh,
Um, the other side of it, Raj, is getting back to the never-ending side of technology in medical field is, as you said, like there's going to be
it's
AI,
massive.
there's going to be new products, there's going to be new imaging systems, there's going to be stuff that'll help us, make sure that we're healthy at the end of the day, right? And that's what we go to the hospital for first, right? Go be proactive, everybody. By the way, especially us
Yeah.
men.
Get
Make sure
your
you go
colonoscopies, guys.
get your colonoscopy. Shout out. There you go. Make sure you get your colonoscopy. How old do you have to be to get those now?
So now the starting age is 45, and if you're African American, then it's 40.
There you guys have it. So if you're there, guys, I don't know if Dr. Raj is taking appointments, but make sure you go check your local doctors. But in all seriousness, yeah, it's important to make sure that you're being proactive instead of retroactive when something actually does happen. And that's what these new technologies in the medical field are continuously expanding on. And it's very exciting and it's endless. And it's always important for entrepreneurs and investors and our VC partners to keep our ears open to them, because these things can actually save lives and prohibit diseases and with the technological advances. So yeah, I'm very excited about what the future has and will continue to bring in this field. So,
Absolutely. No, you bring up a great point, Matthew. With technology, I always, for me, I'm, I'm very proactive and futuristic, but I always bring back to reality the fact that it's all about helping patients and helping people, right? At the same time, your doctors are leading the charge. So it means that technology has to work with the doctor and work with the patients. So there has to be balance of machine and human interface. We just cannot just say, here's a machine and it'll take care of it. Okay, well, but even if you have self-driving cars like we do, or they're in progress and all those things, flightless planes, I still feel that God has put us on this earth for a reason. I
mhm.
feel it's going to be really tough to remove the human factor and the human touch from the machines, because ultimately people are going to touch, people are going to need the human touch. For example, again, bring it back to my job. Would you rather have a robot do your colonoscopy or me? Number two, would you rather have a robot do your tummy surgery without a human? For me, I'm going to say pass on that. I'd rather have a human, because I know, the way it works. You're present. But coming to the machine-human interface, that's where, just like you mentioned, all the technology which you have access to, your partners have access to, that's going to serve not the healthcare system alone, but everybody else in the world, because it allows us to scale. Right? For example, we're using AI now to detect polyps in the colon. So it goes on the colonoscope, we in the tummy, and it kind of finds more polyps, more cancer. Now we also going to be using AI to read MRI images and CT images and all. So all these things that assist the doctors. So anything which assists the doctors doesn't replace the doctors. So there's a difference. You should always assist and not replace, because then you maintain quality. And if you maintain quality, you're gonna maintain sanctity. If you maintain sanctity, you're gonna make the business last longer. It's gonna be much more perpetual if it's a balance of machine and human, and with human being the doctor, if they're overseeing that. So help the doctors, help the patient. And when that happens, right, from a revenue standpoint, healthcare technology is very lucrative. There's a business incubator which I work with, which you have heard of, is Vic Tech. So Vic Tech, born out, it's out of Arkansas. One of my friends, Dr. Calvin Goforth, he's the CEO of that, and he sources extremely amazing and new technology from all the major hospitals and universities, or most universities across the U.S.
Right.
That puts them in a position to really take the IP and commercialize it. So that's new tech that when brought to market, will save lives, right? Will find cancer faster, will find tumors faster, could be applied to telemedicine, could be applied to, somebody if they need to be shocked in a flying plane, right? Somebody can do
Right.
that remotely. All those things comes from somebody's mind, and it's very critical to have access to the IP. And our network, now our mutual network, has access to that. So that's something which we intend to work on together, anyways, right? The ecosystem, and the beauty is from exit standpoint, technology companies, they get very nice exits. And one of my friends, he's an attorney on Wall Street, also an MBA. He told me that technology companies, healthcare IT companies, they can get very lucrative exits ranging from 20x to 35x because tech allows you scale. So that's another reason we're very excited to partner with you and your access to technology, because what we have access to and what you have access to, put it together, we can scale so much faster. Investors are going to love it. We're not only going to change the world in a positive way, we're going to save lives, but at the same time, we're going to make a lot of good money. We're going to create value. I mean, not the money, not being focused on money, but the value creation is continuous and is perpetual and is global. We can take the same IP to Poland, same IP to India,
Right.
Africa, Nigeria, you name it. That's where we can scale and touch the global ecosystem and build economies of scale across the world and create value globally. So that's what our ecosystem intends to do. That was the vision. We have some mutual friends who are, as you know, international investment bankers, and they want to think global, and that's the only way. And once we confirm we have life on other planets, will be universal. Then we have to take this technology to Mars to score, to do stuff with the Martians, and then who knows where the life is. We may be gone by then. Or we may come back. We live in a different dimension. But I don't want to turn into Star Trek. Then the audience may be like, "What's Dr. Raj smoking now?" It's all right.
I don't think our watchers will judge you on that perspective. So, yeah, no, I think yeah, the future holds um um well, the future is going to allow us to live longer for sure with the advancements of health. We're already seeing benefits of it, and it'd be interesting to see, by when, our kids reach our age, what the health, excuse me, forgive me, I'm short of words. What the average age of death will
Oh
be
yes.
as
Oh
we
yeah.
get older, it continues to increase. Maybe people will be, 110,
Yeah.
which I don't think I want to live to 110, but but who knows, see where the medical advancements come from. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Exactly.
yes,
100%. Yeah, no, you're right. I do believe that the age of life, will average life will get longer, and also I do feel that we also may have more life in our years. If you are 40 and you feel you're 50, but now with the new technology, new supplements, new nutrition, new ways of keeping you, more healthier, your
right,
cells more functional. You could be a 40-year-old who's 30 biologically, right? And you could do more. So I always believe in having more life in your years too, and then of course more years in your life. And I mean, hey, like you and I both have long hours. Like we work probably 14, 16 hours a day on an average, and then we decompress and we get back to doing what we're doing because we
right.
love what we're doing. So I think all those advancements using technology and then healthcare, new IP, medical devices, pharmaceutical, biopharmaceuticals, nutrition, all these things will help us be more functional. And like I said, for people who burn the midnight oil way too much, people like us, hey, if we want to knock out a presentation and maybe fly to Shanghai for lunch and come back and do dinner somewhere else, that could help us squeeze more life and more work in the years. We can retire early at 30, you retire and then you do other stuff.
That's the idea, and that's the direction, right? And, well, since we're on that topic, right, we're giving very general advice. If you could give any of our listeners just any word of advice, specifically for their gut,
Sure.
is there any general advice you would give them? Maybe 3 words of wisdom for
Yeah,
them?
absolutely. The first will be, I'm actually going to quote Hippocrates, the father of medicine, ancient Greek philosopher. Hippocrates said, "It all begins in the gut." Means, guys, be careful what you put in your mouth. because your mouth is the first entry point to your gut. So
Mhm.
if you are drinking too much alcohol, if you're drinking too much sugar alcohols or artificial sweeteners, things which are very sweet and make you thirsty when you drink them, they will give you diarrhea and belly cramps.
Mhm.
So it means if you are doing a presentation, if you get a poop, you gotta get out because honestly, you're wearing diapers, your pants are changing color. So that's the biggest thing is pay attention to that. Number two is drink good water with electrolytes and stay hydrated. That's number two. Number three is just don't buy everything you see on Amazon. Just like probiotics is such a sexy word. Oh, probiotics or prebiotics. Oh, this is kombucha.
Right.
I have a nurse friend. She drank kombucha from this farmer's market. She got diarrhea and cramping, almost turned septic because it's fermented microbes, right? So you gotta know you gotta know your body and also know that just because it's advertised somewhere, you should not be taking the health food product because it's gonna make you healthy. It has to be medicine that's specialized for you. It's personalized medicine. So if a probiotic works for me, works for Matthew, works for XYZ, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if it works for us. It may not work for you. So
Sure.
you really got to pay attention before you spend $1,000 in buying these supplements. Oh, okay, it's gonna make me, feel great, but it may give you diarrhea, may give you jaundice. So that's the biggest thing I would say is save your money, spend it wisely. And if you could work with your healthcare providers, that's even better. And I don't want to make it too boring, don't want to sound too preachy, but there's so much snake oil out there. I
Right.
mean, FDA does not regulate the supplement industry that tightly. So
Right.
whatever you see, like for example, the weight loss pill hydroxycut can cause liver failure. I mean, I had patients who needed liver transplant on hydroxycut. It kills your liver.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So you got to be careful. All these supplements. I mean, it's even simple thing like this Tylenol, right? We take Tylenol for headaches, which one pill is fine. But if you take too many of these, it'll kill you. It'll kill your liver because it
Right.
takes away glutathione from your liver. Your liver failure. Once your liver is dead, you're dead because the brain goes into a coma without the liver. So it means anything which will keep your liver healthy and clean will also keep the brain sharp as well. So too much
Mhm.
alcohol, too many fatty foods, greasy foods, anything that gives you liver fat, liver injury will affect your brain and cause mental fogging. So, and I'm not just, saying this just because, but, if you are somebody who's sedentary all day, right? If you're sitting down the coding, right? If you're trading or trader, you don't have time to exercise or eat properly. So be
Right.
very careful. Always pay attention to your organs inside because if your liver doesn't work, your bone marrow doesn't work, your gut doesn't work, you're gonna have problems. You can't do your job. And if you need attention and focus, you better have a very clean gut, very clean liver, and a very highly functional brain and heart. But that's what keeps your intelligence going.
Yeah, it's important to be hyper aware because your body, for the most part, will tell you if in fact something's going on internally.
Yeah.
Not in all
Yeah.
cases, but in a lot of the cases. So, be hyper aware, be in tune with your guy's self and don't ignore little pains or tweaks or anything because your body's telling you something's different, right? So we got to pay attention
Okay.
to these things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you look at all these billionaires out there, right, all this rich of the rich, most of them, they are pretty physically fit, right?
Right.
And they're very physically fit. They're functional. They eat properly. They have private chefs, so they stay in shape. And the more they stay in shape, the more they can work and more money they can make.
That's
So your
right.
health is wealth. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
No,
it.
that's the
Health is
truth.
wealth.
Doesn't change and it'll never change.
No,
Yeah.
it never change. Some things are just truth engraved in this universe, and that's the absolute truth, right?
Yeah.
Health
Yeah.
is wealth. And there's insurance companies out there making billions of dollars right on your health and on your life. At the same time, you get a liver transplant or you get a heart transplant, you get cancer. Everything has a cost price to it. But if you're healthy, then you don't spend that money, which is wasted. Now you can use your own body as your biggest asset, right? And
Right.
their asset will build your wealth.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And to switch gears on topic, I did want to put this out there just as a fun little insertion here, since a lot of our watchers are cryptocurrency people. Me and Raj connected on multiple different levels, but on one especially was from an astrology standpoint.
Oh, oh,
A lot of
you know, oh
connections there.
yes.
And Raj, I hope you don't mind, but I'm
Oh,
gonna go.
absolutely. I love it. Oh my God.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you for
put
bringing
this
that up.
idea, and I want to put the idea into the universe, Raj.
Yes, absolutely.
Raj was kicking the idea around with me about doing an astrology NFT or an astrology a zodiac cryptocurrency program. And I thought it's a wonderful idea. We're the metaphysical world of quote unquote spirituality, slash the new religion, is a big movement. People are, I want to say moving away, but less people are fixated with the churches and becoming more spiritual, and which there are already a ton of people that already are, but me personally, and a lot of people around me, a lot of business people that I work with are very much in tune with their astrology signs and the beliefs that are entangled with it. And I'd love to hear people's opinion on, would you purchase an NFT or a cryptocurrency that was tied to your zodiac sign that gave you guys benefits data points and so on about your spirituality zodiac sign. So love to hear about that. And then Raj, if you wanted to put any sprinkles of information on that
Sure.
idea, let's let our listeners know.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you again, Matthew. Yeah, astrology is very, very dear to me. Our family practices astrology and our culture believes in astrology. And I'm actually going to tell you something which is very interesting. Uh, Hopefully, Marvel Comics does not get mad at me for saying this, but every time I see Marvel movies, when I see Doctor Strange do all these things,
Yeah.
what he's doing, he's practicing Hinduism. That's Indian. That's what we do. Number one. And number two, I don't want this to come the bad way, but when Thanos, when he had the Infinity Stones on his hand, that looked like the crystals which we use in our astrology for healing. So I'm like, hold on a second. Is Marvel, stealing Hinduism now? Come on, guys. Come on. You already stole, Whole Foods already got our stuff. You guys already claiming you invented yoga. Come on now, give us a break.
No, I
So
have to take everything now, right?
I mean, come on, what's going on, guys? But astrology is very dear to me, and I've been practicing astrology since I was 12 years old, even younger, even younger. And astrology is mathematical. Even Albert Einstein, and he has been quoted a few times too. I have to look up the exact quote, but he believed in astrology too. And then Hippocrates, again, father medicine, so many BCs ago, said a doctor who does not know astrology does not deserve to be called a doctor.
Right.
Look at that. So now, when I look at that, what he has said and what I've been practicing too, it's just one step into the realm of mind, body, medicine, and next step. If
Right.
it's the belief, if it's the healing, it gets you better. Absolutely gets you better because things beyond the physical are metaphysical, like you mentioned, right? And astrology is in that realm, but at the same time, astrology has a mathematical component to it. In
Mhm.
India, when you buy a stock, when you buy a house, when you buy a cow, when you buy a new Tesla, when you send a new rocket to the moon, they still consult astrologers to see,
Right.
is this an auspicious time? That's called the lagna. Is this an auspicious time? Is the universe oriented in a way to give us a path of least resistance? So
Mm.
what are they doing? They're just tapping into an ancient science, which is not properly explained, because for us to explain something that complex, we need to be alive for 1 billion years and see that transpire in front of our eyes. And on top of that, we have to be smart enough to understand that. And
Right.
as a doctor, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, yes, people tell me, oh, you're so smart, but here's the deal. I don't even know a small figment of what is out there.
Right.
So, all our scientists and PhD guys out there and docs, they may get mad at me for saying this, but that's okay, guys. But that's the truth. We
Yeah.
just don't know what we don't know. And
Yeah.
astrology operates in that field where if we don't know how it works, but I'm I'm a living testament to that. It works. I have seen magic happen. I've seen miracles happen. I've my personal experience. I've seen things change in front of my eyes. Magical moments. And if I'm on this earth for 80, 85, whatever years I am, and out of that 65 years I'm awake, alert. And if I have to believe in something and not believe, believing is not costing me anything. Not believing may cost me success.
Mhm.
So do I really want to take that risk if I'm on this earth for few decades, which are functional? If this will improve my chance of success, a happy, peaceful life, a healthy life, more
Right.
financial success, do I really want to take the chance? Well, I personally made the decision not to take that chance. So I believe in astrology, guys, and I'm admitting that openly. And yes, Capricorns, Cancerians, Aquarius, all these star signs, they do predict your personality. And like Matthew, when we met for the first time, I think you were pretty impressed. I could tell you stuff about you, and then Jennifer, your wife. You're like, oh my God, wow. Well, because it works. It's
Yes.
there's studies and data showing that you can predict somebody's behavior, personality based on their horoscope and their celestial orientation of the constellation, the planes, and the planets when they were born. And that's
Right.
astrology. And India does a great job on that. They actually keep India has its own calendar. So Romans have their own calendar, right? Indians have a calendar, and it's called Vikramaditya calendar. So they keep an eye on their own calendars. They keep an eye on the movement of the stars, the moons, everything. It's their own thing. And mostly that's taught to you in your astrological colleges, spiritual colleges, and it's transmitted to the learners and the students through written language, and they tested on it. Like they tell them, hey, this is somebody's date of birth, time of birth, place of birth. Make the horoscope. How are they going to die? Okay, no pressure. 5 seconds.
Right.
That intense it is. And people are good out there. Like all the Indian movie stars, all these guys out there. If you look at these guys, they're all wearing infinity stones. Pay attention to the guys next time. When you see your Indian colleagues next time, I'm spilling the beans to them, Indian, my country, but it's okay. I love you. We have to share this with the world. See, look at their hands. They're all gonna be wearing infinity stones, like yellow sapphires, blue sapphires, quartz and rubies and emeralds. These are the core stones that bring you good luck. How do they work? Is a complex phenomena. But I
Yeah.
personally believe that these crystals induce electromagnetic changes in your immediate vicinity. And since we are, right, as matter, we are energy, right? E is MC square is E, right? So if I was to throw myself with the speed of light, or Matthew was to kick me so hard, I'm flying with the speed of light, at some point I'm gonna go so fast, I'm gonna turn into light. But at the same time, if you were to slow light down, light becomes matter.
That's
So
right.
we already know that Einstein talks about this stuff. We just don't talk about it enough because we're distracted. We just
No,
have to take a pause and look at everything from a believer standpoint. I'm a cynic too. I don't believe in everything, but at the same point, we should not just dismiss something because somebody else said it's baloney or it doesn't work. So
well,
that's why, as a physician, I always stand my ground, saying, "Listen, I believe in astrology, and I'm going to give my last piece of truth to it, and I'm going to believe in it till the day I die. My kids believe in this, my wife, my entire family believes in this. It works for us."
there's so many benefits,
Oof.
from multiple different perspectives, for obviously from a molecular breakdown, matter structure, we're all made of the same thing, right? So if you're to enhance certain parts through certain stones, then, it allows your brain for it to make sense on how some of these stones can interact with you, from a horoscope technique or for a horoscope perspective, for, as we're growing up, all of us, 20s, 30s, maybe into our 40s, some people still don't, we're trying to figure out who we are, right?
Right.
And we always hear that we're always trying to figure out who we are. And all these are they're tools for us to help us discover ourselves maybe a little bit younger, on why, you may think it's chemically we're certain ways, but no, it's just maybe from an astrology standpoint, this is how we're born. And these are tools that help us self-discover ourselves to a certain perspective. And that's for me, that's how I look at it, right? It enables us to come to a consensus and allow us to come to a conscious decision of understanding of who we are, which then allows us ultimately our subconscious to act appropriately with us and allow us to accelerate in all different areas in life once we can figure out who we are and why we're acting this way, why we're not acting this way. That's really important, and people don't talk about that enough either. I mean, even as we get older, we kind of become more stubborn on why we are a certain way, but it's always good to retroact and go back and rediscover why we are this way. If you're stuck where you're at, it'll allow you to figure out how to move forward in certain areas that you may want to, for those that want to keep doing new things in life, but
100%.
which please do, everybody. Never be stagnant.
Never be stagnant.
We're all vibrations. Everything in this world is a vibration. So that
Movement. Exactly.
keep your butt
Exactly.
moving.
Exactly. Matthew, just like what you said was actually so eloquent the way you said that. All of us, we have vibrations, right? And when you're younger, when you're 12, 13, 14, sometimes your hormones take over and you're like, why am I angry all the time? Why am I acting like this all the time? And some people take to drugs, some people do that. I think that's a critical time when something like astrology and metaphysical sciences could really bring stability to your internal equilibrium and
Sure.
help you be stable during the formative years of life, right? I always believe that the years 12 through 18 or 18 to or 12 through 20, these years are very formative. Whatever personality, thought process, attitude you form in these years takes you through the rest of your life. So I always believe that if you could do everything you can to not question yourself or be mad at yourself, like, why am I this way? If you can pick up something like astrology and say, okay, well, my star sign is Cancerian. I have Scorpio ascendant. I have moon in my Libra. Okay, why is my mind acting like this? What can I do to stabilize that? I
Right.
think that introspection will really bring stability to your consciousness.
Mhm.
And now you're more focused because now you can also, from logical standpoint, reason. You go, okay, well, because the moon's going through that phase. Okay, I think that's much better than you going smoking or drinking alcohol to
Right.
calm down. I think that, because as humans, we do karma, right? Karma. What is karma? Karma means action, the deed. We are born to do something. Even not doing something is karma, right?
Mhm.
So if I'm sitting still, it's an action of staying still. If
That's
I'm
right.
doing something, action of movement. So everything is karma. And I believe in karma yoga. That's the yoga I practice, karma yoga, where you are going to the universe by thinking, almost like light, right? Like, what is light? Light is always moving. Photons, they always move. So we are just like these photons of light. We're always moving and we are going. So to the point, if we can focus during the formative years of our life on ourselves as why are we a certain way, why should we do that, why should we not do that, what to do, what not to do, I think that really, really, really helps us understand ourselves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I give all glory to my wife. She's very much involved in metaphysical spirituality, and it changed my perspective on a lot of things. Gave me a lot more, again, consensus of who I am and why maybe I act a certain way. Now, it doesn't mean I have to believe everything, but at the end of the day, as much as it's what I want to take from it, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that does coincide with what I need, and everybody needs something different. So I'm
Yeah,
glad we brought that up. And again, guys, we're kicking around the ideas about creating a zodiac coin, which I think would be extremely fun. I think it would be
yeah,
powerful. I think it would be
yeah,
inspirational, and
yeah,
it can give all these things that we're talking about in this last couple of minutes is what we want to bring to this platform and allow everybody to participate in. So we look forward to
yeah.
coming out with one here shortly here. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we should do a separate chat about that too. Like, we can have one on zodiac itself and
yeah.
really share stories and case studies. That'd be very powerful. And it's all about having positivity in your life, right? If this zodiac NFT, this coin, is something that will bring you good luck, right? In our culture, if you buy gold
Mhm.
during this time, this is called Navratri, and Muslims call it Ramadan,
Right.
and I think Christians maybe it's Lent, if I'm not mistaken. So there's auspiciousness to certain months and times. So we
Right.
believe if you buy gold, buy silver, things like that, brings you luck. If we can create something like a Bitcoin NFT, which will bring you good luck, that even the faith itself will bring you good luck, right? Just believing in something changes the energy flow. And there's studies out there where, one negative thought is like a drop of poison. It's like cyanide for a human body. But one positive thought is like nectar. So when in doubt, would you take a drop of cyanide or a drop of nectar? So these coins, these NFTs we're talking about, Matthew, there could be that the nectar for the day. You start your day taking a little lick at this nectar or looking at this nectar, your entire day goes well. And now you go out there, do your trading, do your business deals, become billionaires. And we all live happily ever after.
That's right.
That's what the goal is. It's all about, being happy and pursue happiness in every form and shape.
Well, let's talking things into fruition here, right? So this is the idea, and super excited and to be working with you, moving here forward, Raj, and you want to touch any other bases, or you want to cut it at this point in time? How would you like to move forward? I think we touched on a lot of fun topics. We
We did. Yes,
talked about
absolutely.
gut happiness. We talked about Eastern, Western medicines. We talked about technologies, potential NFT projects that we're definitely excited about, and most excited to be here with you, Raj. So
Oh, pleasure. It's an honor, Matthew. It's an honor to work with you. It's an honor to be a friend. And that, as I lovingly call you, you're the Capricorn king. Because you're a Capricorn and get along great with Capricorns. I'm a Cancerian. All my best friends are Capricorns. Pretty much, yeah. I think we touched on everything. And down the line, if the audience likes it, we can do more, focus and case reports, and we can have engaging audience. We can do Q&A and all things like that. But I think. I'm very sure we can attract some like-minded people. So if anybody's out there who wants to be part of our ecosystem in any shape or form, they can contact Matthew, for the coin NFTs or collaboration with us. I think that can be very fruitful for all of us, because we need to continue this revolutionary ecosystem, right? This biome, which is like active biome of people doing the best they can and being very successful, right? I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being super healthy and wealthy, right? So if you can have both, I think that's the best life. Health and wealth, both. That's it. You're done.
no, don't look at it as greed, and that's important. Another thing we should talk about another time is there's being rich and being wealthy, guys, and that's something that we need to talk about as well in the next video. But before I let you go, don't forget Pursuit of Gut Happiness, everybody. Find it on Amazon. Dr. Raj, I appreciate you as always. I do. And to everybody out there, thank you for listening. And I look forward to doing many of these videos with you, Raj. Take care.
Great. Thank you, Matthew. Thanks.